is confirmed. Good evening. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Belinda Phillips, and Friday night starts now. President William Ruto Friday unveiled the Shirika Plan, a landmark initiative to integrate 830,000 refugees in northern Kenya into local communities. The government says the plan will also benefit an additional 1 million Kenyans in host areas. However, Turkana and Garissa governors cautioned that significant groundwork is needed to secure public support. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen also sought to assure the public that the plan was not driven by political motives.
It's a plan that's been in the works for a number of years, a way to restore dignity to those forced to flee their countries while relieving host nations of the financial burden. On Friday, President William Ruto, alongside the UN Human Rights Commissioner, the donor community and the private sector, launched the Shirika Plan, an initiative to integrate 830,000 refugees, primarily in northern Kenya, into society, acknowledging that a resentment has existed over inequalities in access to services.
When I went to Kakuma for a development tour, then as Deputy President, there was a presentation by one of the students from the local school. And in the presentation, this pupil was asking me as Deputy President whether I could facilitate them to be a refugee. And the reason is that the school in the refugee camp was better than the school that this pupil was attending.
The government says the plan will also benefit 1 million Kenyans in host communities by granting them equal access to schools, healthcare facilities, and other essential services.
There is an element of dissatisfaction from the ground. There is a need actually for us to continue sensitizing and also capacity building the people so that they understand the document properly.
The ground wants to be clear on how the host community, which has indeed sacrificed for many, many years, how they will be compensated, how they will benefit from this plan.
Addressing local politics, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen dismissed speculation that the plan is driven by 2027 political interests.
This has nothing to do with whether or not refugees can become citizens of Kenya. Citizenship for the Republic of Kenya is defined by law and the Constitution. We have people who have been in this country, born and bred in this country, for over 33 years, calling Kenya home, and they live in these refugee camps.
The plan aims to grant refugees greater mobility, using their refugee IDs, enable them to secure work permits and promote financial inclusion,
including things such as recognition of refugee IDs for access to SIM cards and M-Pesa, reforms allowing refugees access to banking, and the right for refugees to register their businesses and their business property.
Containing refugees in camps, people who could, many of them could possibly have ideas, was not the best way to relate with the refugees.
They are just people who could have experienced problems, but they are not a problem. Many countries have been built with the inputs and ideas of people who necessarily did not originate from those countries.
While welcoming the shift from humanitarian aid to development funding, the donor community highlighted existing gaps that need to be addressed.
We will continue to work on concrete activities to be outlined. Budget estimates will need to be developed, and timing for implementation will need to be sketched out in more detail.
All said and done, the government was clear the ultimate goal is voluntary and welcome movement across borders, not necessitated by insecurity.
Just this morning, I have sent the Honorable Raila Odinga, our former Prime Minister, to South Sudan because there is a situation that could lead to export of more refugees from that country.